Alec, what's going on? We're talking about Epic Rap Battle of History, Season 5.
Yeah, I guess, or should we say epic rap battles of history? Because they were very weirdly, very quiet this time around. For some reason, I hadn't really figured that out. But yeah, we went through Season 5, all the raps, and we're here to talk about Season 5.
This is the best season by far, I think.
I think it was so good that I had an extremely hard time ranking any of these, and I'm gonna look back at this and be like, yeah, I don't even know if I agree with that. So,
I think there's one dud, and the rest are all really good.
Yeah, I think I would agree.
Even that one has some decent parts of it, but it's
yeah. The production values overall are still just like far and away the best that's ever been. So
yeah. We really ran the gamut on a lot of different, like sports, history, pop culture, singers, and all over the place.
Yeah,
chefs,
yeah, for sure.
Authors,
chefs.
Yeah. So we did watch the Deadpool versus Boba Fett one, which is like technically a bonus battle between season 4 and 5. So we didn't include it in the ranking, but that one was really good. It's really good.
That one was very good. There was a lot of really good little references to not nearly quite as known stuff about both characters, so it was cool.
And it's cool they really did it in Deadpool's delivery style. It was like talking to the camera and stuff, and it was cool.
All these weird different styles and stuff that he was getting. It was cool. Yeah, it was fun.
Yeah. All right, so what's number 12 in your ranking of the season?
Bruce Banner versus Bruce Jenner.
That's right.
it's pretty easy. Pretty easy.
Most fans seem to agree this is one of their least favorite battles, and people often cite to the fact that Caitlyn Jenner has like an extra verse at the end, and the Hulk doesn't have an extra verse there. So they're like, oh, they're being unfair. But I mean, I also just thought her last verse was really weak anyway. So
yeah,
I would have said even with that the Hulk won. Bruce Banner.
Yeah.
But what an interesting concept. Two Bruces that transform.
Yeah. One into a giant hulking monster and the other who transitioned to a woman.
I think my favorite part of that is the first half, I think. I think Bruce Banner has a nice flow to it.
It was fun, yeah.
Just like the Flash, especially in the 100-meter ditch your wife dash.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it still was fun, even though it's clearly the not as good one of the bunch.
Yeah, it's just weaker in comparison. Yeah. What's number 11?
11 for me was Ash Ketchum versus Charles Darwin. I just thought the concept as a whole was weird. I also thought there was just like there was just a couple like really odd things in it, particularly where it's like he like stops the flow entirely to
this
I don't remember what it was for.
Spent 8 years studying barnacle dig.
Yeah,
Kick it.
Yeah, I was like, that didn't really work for me. There was still a lot of like really good stuff, rhyming and wordplay, but that one was similarly weak. Maybe not quite as standoutly weak, but
we did some cool stuff with it. Like the whole how they were in the battle style in the beginning.
I liked in the battle. It was a lot of really good editing stuff in that one.
Turn the cap. I've yet to catch the ghost type. Yeah, he has some goofy lines in there, but I like how it's like it took millions of years for mankind to evolve. Now they're hunched over cell phones playing with your balls.
Over. Yeah.
That was right like when Pokemon Go was huge when they posted this one. Yeah, so I still think it's a really fun battle, but
yeah, it was fun. Boy, what a summer though, 2016.
What a time to be alive.
I know, what a time to be alive. It was really a moment in time right there.
Yeah, because I did a video on that, and it was like the summer, a few months. It was like all about it. I'm like, damn, this is a new way of life now. And then I just haven't gone on since that summer, even though I know people still do it.
Yeah, still pretty popular,
but
from what I understand.
It can't be the same, right? It'll never be the same as it was that summer, because it's not like
that summer was.
It's not like a community thing. Now it's just like you're kind of doing it on your own whenever.
Yeah.
But before it was like whenever you go to like a spot, like you're guaranteed to see someone else like they're trying to take the gym or whatever.
Yeah,
it was almost guaranteed, and you'd actually be certain nights there'd be a ton of people going to different spots.
Yeah,
so it was like a movement happening before our eyes.
It was crazy. It was insane. It was absolutely insane. Yeah, there'll probably never be anything like that again. So it was fun for sure.
So what's number 10?
I put Gordon Ramsay versus Julia Child. I know when we talked about it, when we watched it, I was just kind of like, I felt like she could have been harsher to him in a way, and I felt like he could have had more to her because like I don't even think he cracked one joke about her being drunk while
she do that?
Like, doing the show. She drank sherry, and like the prevailing theory is that she had sometimes drunk a little too much of it. Yeah, I was surprised. I was just surprised that there was like some stuff in there that like I kind of expected to be a little more. It was still really good. It was still a lot of fun. There were still some solid burns and lines in there.
It was cool. There was like a whole reference to the Gordon Ramsay show with the jacket. Yeah. Did you ever watch that one? I never watched it, but like
I don't think I've ever seen that show in particular, but I did know I got the reference though because I've seen other references.
You get a jacket, but then he takes the jacket when you're off or whatever.
Yeah,
when you're eliminated.
Like that, yeah,
that's why he takes it back.
I don't remember which particular show that was.
Yeah.
Was it specifically? I don't know if that was Hell's Kitchen.
Yeah.
Is that Hell's Kitchen? Was that the competition one? I don't even remember.
But like you said, he keeps his ovens preheated and his pilot's greenlit. He's got all these shows.
It's so many shows. He has so many shows. And the funny thing is, in his British shows, he's a lot like he doesn't like blow up or explode like he does on the American ones because. That's like he's just like, oh, he's gonna blow up. This food is disgusting.
I do love I've grown to really appreciate him like the last few months when I went and watched a ton of these clips with my mom. Like I love him on the kitchen nightmares and stuff when he's like,
oh yeah,
this is repulsive when he's like tearing stuff out of the fridge and stuff, chucking stuff.
There's like a dead rat in the compressor, and he's like
damn, how did they not prepare for this even a little bit? We got the worst conditions back there.
Yeah.
Like Gordon Ramsay's coming. I think we're good.
Yeah, we're good. He's gonna help us get the business.
And then he like walks in the door, and there's a dead rat like right next to the door when he comes in. I'm like, wow. And then the dude accused him. He was like, no, there was no rat there. You planted that there. Then he like straight up accuses him on the show. I'm like, damn.
A cameraman. Maybe he was thinking a cameraman planted it there. I don't know. It's possible, I guess.
I know. It's funny how he catches like the worst conditions. It's crazy. You got Gordon Ramsay coming, you think you'd at least make it look okay for the day. But he's like, this seafood is just sitting out here in the open. Like, what is this? This is a dead there's a dead lobster in here. Like, Jesus Christ. It's crazy.
Vile. Absolutely vile. This is vile. Vile conditions.
I'm always here for it. Like he's so justified whenever he gets angry. That's why he's our hero.
That's why he's our hero.
Number 9.
So I put down James Bond versus Austin Powers.
Wow.
I don't actually know if I really stand by that anymore. I think I just kind of threw a number in there. I was switching and swapping around.
James Bond versus Austin Powers might be my favorite. It's one of my favorites.
It's so good, and I was like, why did I put it down so low? I actually think probably what I would do is I'm going to swap that with Alexander the Great versus Ivan the Terrible. The reason for that being is because Alexander the Great's part in that was so good. And I wanted to keep going, and then he died, and then he kept being replaced with other historical figures.
It's a really well done battle.
It's a really well done battle, but I felt like it was maybe bogged down a little too much by just having so many different people.
It's more. It's like a play unfolding more than an actual battle. It's like he's killing. Ivan the Terrible is just cheating his way through to the end, but then Catherine the Great doesn't give into it.
No.
But it is really good. There's some really good. Alexander the Great's definitely a highlight, but I think Ivan the Terrible as a character is really good performance by Nice Peter for that character.
Yeah, it was fun. It's fun. It's definitely still fun for sure. I also do admit I'm not as up to date or up to snuff on any Russian history. I feel like that was like one of the major weaknesses in a lot of my history stuff is Russian history has always evaded me, and it's something that like I just either never really studied or never really was given the opportunity to study. So it was like that's one thing that I'd like to get into a little bit more. But
yeah,
there's a lot there. So, but yeah.
Yeah, I mean, there's some good history there. You can't get much more history than that for an epic rap battle of the history.
Yeah, they had tons. So next for me was Donald Trump versus Hillary Clinton. This is my number 8. Solid battle. Your presidential election. What you'd expect. I did like the fact at the end that Abe Lincoln slapped Donald Trump twice instead of slapping Hillary Clinton, because it's like Abe Lincoln wouldn't hit a woman, you know. It's like,
I'd like to think not.
I like to think not. It was. I thought that was funny. Yeah, I mean, it was just basically all the talking points of everyone had throughout the whole election cycle, which was a giant nightmare for literally everyone involved. I did appreciate it was like the crack where he was saying it's like. You should have been number 2 to the.
He always said you're a 2.
Yeah,
you
almost
2. Lost the primary to socialist Jew.
Yeah.
What do the American people get a Yankee Doodle do to get through your fat face that they're just not that into you? Yeah, they have some good lines on both sides. I think some good ones
for sure. Oh yeah, she had some sick burns for sure. But yeah, I mean, it was like it's still like they kind of did the whole Lincoln bit again. I get it, but it was like despite the fact that it feels better that he's reaming out these 2 people in comparison to the one we had before. It was still kind of like a been there, done that sort of thing. So
yeah, I think it was just like a for the fans kind of thing.
Yeah,
because I mean, when we had the Barack Obama versus Mitt Romney. Election cycle, that was like the whole talk of the town was like, oh, the lesser of 2 evils, this both bad choices, and then we get Donald Trump versus Hillary Clinton. It's like, okay, no, this is lesser of 2 evils.
No, this is legitimately the lesser of 2 evils. Yeah, and then so what like, okay, exactly? Heck, you could have just done that with the new one we just had. Donald Trump versus Joe Biden.
I will say they did do a battle for that one. That is in next season.
It's unsurprising to me. Yeah. I feel like that would have to happen.
By the way, they did originally Donald Trump versus Ebenezer Scrooge was an old battle where Nice Peter played Donald Trump, and then this time Epic Lloyd played Donald Trump.
Yeah,
I think it's a much better fit for it.
He had that face the whole time though.
It's pretty good.
It was fun.
They built him up like a supervillain style, like he just started going off. Yeah, but
yeah.
I will say, like, I heard about the original concept for the video. They were going to have, like, Ronald Reagan. It was going to be a whole complete different instrumental, and they were going to have Ronald Reagan come in instead at the end.
That's fun.
I don't know how it would have gone exactly. But
I do want to say a highlight of, I didn't mention this before, but a highlight of the Ash Ketchum versus Charles Darwin one was also the backing track was the Pokemon theme. They used they used the sample from that. Yeah. Which was really great. But
I think a lot of the tracks were really good this season too.
Oh yeah, a lot of the samples and the beats were awesome. So for sure.
So what are we at, number 7 now?
7. I may have put this a little high, but I kind of just appreciated the candor and the fun that they were able to have with each other. It was Nice Peter versus Epic Lloyd 2. I just thought it was a lot of fun. There's 2 guys riffing on each other.
It was good. I feel like there was some real stuff in there.
Yeah, there might. I mean, yeah, there may have been some like legitimate stuff in there that they.
It's got to be somewhat therapeutic to put it out there.
Yeah, so I think just is like in terms of like, I guess sort of sympathizing with creative types that put their whole lives out there to make content on YouTube. You know, it takes a toll. So, that's fun.
That was very possibly going to be like the end of this of Epic Rap Battles of History, so would have been a fitting end almost.
Yeah.
And, like they battle each other at the end.
Yeah, for sure. So next after that I have Frederick Juggles versus Thomas Jefferson, and I really enjoyed this a lot. I felt like maybe if I was reanalyzing, I may put a little lower because Thomas Jefferson does have to play defensive because Frederick Douglass comes in and is like, "Yo, dog, you're a racist." Because I mean, it's tough. It's tough to come back from that. You know, it's like, how do you address that? So you have to play defensive the whole time. But all of the history stuff in there was fun. I really enjoyed.
No compromise. You couldn't whip a fifth of me, man.
That was great.
Delivered freedom ring, but never picked up the phone.
Do you know something interesting about Sally, Thomas Jefferson's slave mistress? That the Thomas Jefferson Foundation didn't recognize her historicity for like close to 200 years. It was very recently in which they've actually started to acknowledge her, like the fact that he had children with her.
Yeah.
It's very interesting. There's some like weird politics behind the scenes at Monticello, I guess, or something. It's very bizarre, but it's like it's been an open secret. Everybody knew about it. So it's kind of fascinating.
That's the thing. Like, as much as you could try to justify, you know, him owning slaves or whatever, it's like he kind of, it's irredeemable, the fact that he didn't even free her when he died, or like
it's pretty bad,
you know. So you talk about freedom, but you ain't applying shit.
And that's exactly what George Washington did in his twilight years. He freed he had whittled down. He'd freed all of the slaves that he'd had until the last ones before he died, and he freed the rest of them because he's like, not worth it. And Jefferson did say, you know, it is a blot on American history, but they still utilized, because they felt that they had to, in order to economically, whatever justification they had for it. Mm-hmm. So, you know, Frederick Douglass reamed him out for it, and it was fun.
When he dies on the 4th of July, doesn't free her. It's like, not saved. And J.B. Smoove is Frederick Douglass. He's cool.
Yeah. Oh yeah. The dew was awesome. It's like every time I see that picture of Frederick Douglass on like the book covers and stuff of his autobiographies, I'm like, man, looking fresh, Frederick.
He's got it.
Yeah.
That man's got it. Well, Frederick, I've never heard of Versailles Douglas. Yeah.
Yeah. So what am I at? Number 5. So I think originally I had swapped this with Alexander the Great and Tywin Taylor. But actually, what I'm going to do, I'm going to swap again. I'm going J.R.R. Tolkien versus George R.R. Martin. Mm-hmm. This is a super solid one. This is one of my favorites of the season. I like this one a lot. Actually, no, I lied. I mean, Tony Hawk versus Wayne Gretzky. That's actually there. Wow. It was fun. A lot of good sports beef. Wayne Gretzky gets to kind of own Tony Hawk. It's got a cool beat to it also. It's like, it feels very fitting. But yeah, I love this one. There's some cool references there, and it's like, I like when, like Wayne Gretzky just destroys it in the end, but yeah, for sure, because he's like, oh yeah, all these world records. I made all of them. Almost
184 between us, and I got 183 of them. Yeah. So
yes, Wayne Gretzky.
Oh, and the
amazing hockey player.
X Games line is cool too.
Oh yeah.
But he's talking about how he had. You're on your third wife. Talk about the X Games.
Yeah, talk about the X Games. Yeah, because he's married to his one beautiful wife, and I think Tony Hawk makes a remark about his daughter being hot, and I was like, I don't know if I knew about any of that, but okay.
She's alright.
But that's still fun. Fun stuff. Tony Hawk is just like kind of a legend with people our age, just because of the games. And there was a great Tony Hawk's Pro Skater who's been declining since 3 or whatever.
Mm-hmm. Going downhill since Pro Skater 3. So for me, it went downhill after Underground 2. Underground 2 is my one of my favorites.
A lot of people have very positive feelings about Underground and Underground 2. So I have friends that say the same thing. But
I mean, they did the remake of like Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 1 and 2.
It's amazing.
So can't they just go off of that and it's like, okay, let's do more in this
let's do Underground 1 and 2. Let's do that.
Well, why don't we make like new ones in this vein? Because they tried with Tony Hawk's Pro Skater, whatever the new one was, 5, but then that didn't work.
was awful.
But now they have the model, so why don't you just do more of this?
And then you
could actually just have good Tony Hawk games in the 2022. Like, that'd be wild. But Tony Hawk's cool. He does some like fun. I follow him on Twitter. He has some fun tweets and stuff too. He'll post
about how no one recognized. He's like the most famous unrecognized person in history, basically. Like,
it's funny though, but like even me not being into skateboarding myself, I've always found the history of it really interesting. Like, there's some cool documentaries on it that they're always fun to look into, and to see like the classic tapes of him doing the records and stuff. Cool.
I love the sort of underground and like rebellious sort of nature of I mean, skate tapes were like such a huge thing in like the 80s and 90s, early 90s and stuff, and it's a cool scene for sure.
And the fact that Tony Hawk has just embodied that skateboarding vibe so much that he's like a teenager still, and he's like 60 years old.
He's like almost 60. Yeah, it's wild.
But he's still like, bro. He still talks like that. He's just like, he's a cool dude.
Yeah. 4. Let's do J.R.R. Tolkien versus George R. R. Martin for real now.
Yeah.
Fun one.
This is a really good. I don't think there's really a debate of which one's better now. I mean, as an author, like, because J.R.R. Tolkien, he established he laid the groundwork. So it's hard to say George R. R. Martin is better in that regard.
Yeah, for sure. And
he's number 1 and 2. He's under 50 Shades of Grey, like he said.
I mean, Tolkien's just inspired so much outside of just literature. It's I mean, Dungeons and Dragons would not exist without that influence, So, and that spawned a whole like sub genres of entertainment, with live play stuff.
But the fact like George R. R. Martin at the time, this was when the Game of Thrones was like the biggest, or like undeniably the most popular show in the world, and still Game of Thrones is one of the most popular shows ever exists. And that's like definitely wouldn't have happened. The first couple seasons, especially, never would have happened if you didn't have George R. R. Martin's books. Like, that's what made the world so good and the characters so good, is because of George R. R. Martin. But
right, and it's wild to think that like the fact that it was so successful, even with the wet fart of an ending, they are still making a spin-off series that's still in production. I don't even know how they're going to market that. Like, how do you market it after it? But they're still going forward with it. So it's like, I guess all the power to them.
George's still writing a book. I mean, I don't know what's going on over there.
I don't know if he's going to be able to finish it before he dies, though.
He takes forever to write. See, that's the problem. But
when got himself involved with writing lore for a video game before he finished it, but
there's nothing will compare to the creators or the showrunners of Game of Thrones, like giving up on Game of Thrones so they could work on a Star Wars thing, only for them to not end up doing the Star Wars thing.
Yeah, because they were like, no thanks.
Because they which
is amazing, because Rian Johnson is still on booked to do a Star Wars trilogy. Despite the fact that everyone hates The Last Jedi, he's still on board.
But it's like,
so that shows you there that like no one has any confidence in those two guys. Have they written anything since then?
I don't know, but it's like I've never seen someone ruin their legacy so quickly. So where it's like, we're gonna not finish such a highly revered show. Like, it's our thing. It's what we're known for. We're not going to finish that strongly because we want to work on Star Wars, and then they messed that up so badly that they don't work on Star Wars, and it's just like, oh well, messed it up. And then they still get nominated for Emmys and for season 8. I'm like, what's going on here? Come on, let's not kid ourselves.
Yeah.
But they blew it.
Overall, that battle was fun. I did like Tolkien talking about how he was at Somme and fighting in the trenches, and good stuff.
Yeah, that's really good.
My number 3 is Bond versus Austin Powers. Fun battle. I love how Connery comes in to fight the Daniel Craig version. Austin Powers is just, he's kind of almost doing his own thing. He's kind of like, no, fight with me, like towards the end.
Because because he gets sidelined there.
He does,
but I think it's really cool in the beginning how they go like they shift back and forth between the tones of both of them, and like when you shift to Austin Powers, the beat just gets all groovy. Like, groovy with it.
Yeah. It's very like 60s and 70s. It's funny because of like James Bond came out during that time where that sort of camp was very popular. Some of the films leaned into that at a certain point, but none of them went like full on sort of like psychedelic flower child goofiness that Austin Powers did, which is kind of what makes it fun satire, I guess, or fun parody, is because it like leans super hard into that aspect of the 70s while also making him like stereotypically British, I guess, with the bad teeth and being extremely hairy. So yeah.
I mean, just like if you think of it as a battle, that's the thing with some of these battles. It's like there's not really an argument for Austin Powers that Austin Powers can make against James Bond, right?
Yeah.
Like he can only just come at it and be, a more enjoyable personality. That's all he can really do.
Right.
Because like he is the original model that you're mimicking, and he also he has a lot more material there than you. Like 24 movies, 3 movies.
3 movies of which I don't even know if they're any good.
It's like you can make fun of him for remaking it. You can make fun of him for like making Thunderball twice. You can do that, but ultimately it's like, well, you can't deny. Like you wouldn't exist without him, basically.
That's a fun battle for sure. My number 2 is Wonder Woman versus Stevie Wonder, which when it was first pitched, I was kind of like, I don't know how I feel about this, but that ended up being one of my very favorites of the season. I just had a lot of fun with the interplay between the both of them. Referencing the Stevie Wonder conspiracy theory, is he actually blind?
Because he caught that microphone stand, man.
Yeah,
he really did that.
He did that. T-Pain was just awesome as Stevie Wonder.
He was perfect.
Singing his first verse, very cool. Rapping, I guess. I don't know what you call that, but it was great. A lot of good digs.
Lily Singh as Wonder Woman was cool too. She's really good.
Yeah, I like the digs about like Wonder Woman fails the Bechdel test. And that stuff is fun. So. And
she's like a part-time father. Because 9 different kids with 5 different mothers. Stevie.
Yeah, wow, Stevie's getting busy.
I like the joke. I've heard jokes people say about that. It's like, well, he couldn't tell. He thought it was the same woman. It's not his fault.
I feel like you would be able to tell. They all kind of feel the same. I don't know. It's like, geez,
dang it, again?
Another one?
This keeps happening.
This keeps happening, man. I don't get it.
I'll catch that microphone stand, though.
Is that one where didn't Shaq remark about it? I was like, how did you know it was me? I was like, I didn't even talk, and he was like, he knew I was in the room. It was something like that, where it's like he walked in a room and like Steve Wonder immediately knew like Shaq was around. So like Shaq wrote a tweet about it.
Stevie Wonder's great.
Stevie Wonder's great. So my number 1 then is Theodore Roosevelt versus Winston Churchill. I was afraid going into it, but that one ended up being my favorite. A lot of fun, goofy history information in there. I almost wish they'd gone for more deeper cuts than they did, but I thought it was still a very solid battle overall. Love the beat, love the
very old-timey. And the delivery is really great. It was
basically The Entertainer. It was like a sample of The Entertainer, kind of, just fun.
They're both really great with the delivery. I know Epic Lloyd for the longest time throughout ERB has wanted to play Theodore Roosevelt, and he just like fits the role perfectly. He looks perfect.
He does look surprisingly like him, like kind of a little too much.
World War II soon. Yeah, there's some good stuff in there. If Rushmore was a band, you'd play bass.
That's rough. It's rough, buddy. Talking about like now you have to deal with my cousin. You know, like FDR is the one that dealt with Churchill. They played up the getting shot because TR was making a speech. You get a shot, and I'm pretty sure he said something like, "Ladies and gentlemen, I have been shot," but he's like, it has something to do with like, but you can't keep down a bull moose. And that was like his whole thing. And like he finished the speech after being shot.
You can't get more badass than that.
You really can't.
It's amazing. Yeah. William Henry Harrison was close though because he was outside for a while, got sick.
Do you know that idiot man? He was like 80 something, or he wasn't maybe that old. He was like in his late 60s, early 70s, and that man decided to give one of the longest inaugural speeches. It was like 2 hours long in the pouring rain. It was no wonder he got sick and died. No one wanted to,
pretty badass,
to be around that.
Pretty badass.
Wow. He was kind of close. He was outside for.
He made his mark, dude. He
did. He definitely did. He was the shortest tenure of a president ever. Yeah. A whole whopping month.
Yeah. Least amount of damage done in a presidency. Can't deny it. Yeah, what a great season. It
really was. Honestly, this was like, if they were going to finish it here, I mean, I felt like they went out with an absolute slamming season. So, yeah.
And so we only have one other season that's been finished since this one. And they only just posted one battle of the most recent season. So there's a long ways for that to finish. So soon we'll be all caught up on it. There's some fun ones in the next season as well. But I still think this one might be the best. It might be the best.
Yeah, the quality is just like through the roof in this one for sure. I mean, even the ones that I rank lower, I was like, this is like one of the. In another season, this would be like among the like top 5 easily, and that was like the whole season was like that.
There's good variety. It's like you got so many different things covered here. It's great. It's great. So what video would you recommend our viewers watch after watching this one?
Go check out our review of Dua Lipa's Future Nostalgia. Go check it out.
Similar vein.
Yeah,
get the rap battles of history.
That's right. Go hear us talk about music.
Dua is gonna make her mark on history. She'll be talked about and studied for years to come. She's a marvel.
Well, I hope so. She's great.
Yeah.
She should keep making good music.
I think she should get whatever she should do what she wants. She should get whatever she wants in life. She deserves the best. All right. Okay. Thank you for watching. Subscribe to the channel. Subscribe to our podcast feed. Like the video. Leave a comment. Hit the notification bell. Follow us on Twitter and Instagram. And like us on Facebook. Tarqaron TWO. All right.